Hello and welcome to Living with the Land Speeder, where we Starwarsify Disney parks one attraction at a time. This is chapter 30. We've hit the big 3-0. I'm your host, Ryan, joined by my good pal, Katrin, and my other pal, Derek.
Hey, what's up?
And for the 30th, we have a special guest.
Yes.
Are we excited? I'm excited.
We are excited. I can't stand it.
Patrick Cotnoir, the producer of many things, the audience member of many shows. You can find on his IMDb. But tonight he is here to talk about the George Lucas talk show hosted by, of course, retired director George Lucas.
Wow. Thank you guys for having me. So psyched to be here. Thank you.
It's good to have you here. I'm a big fan of the show. I think it's absolutely hilarious. I mean, Watto. So good.
Should I explain to people what the show is?
Yeah,
it feels like it needs. I mean, we've been trying to work on the elevator pitch for like 10 years now, and it's still has not gotten much better. But comedian Connor Ratliff plays George Lucas, and we have a talk show that is just like any other normal talk show, except it is hosted by George Lucas. The sidekick is Watto, who's played by Griffin Newman from The Tick and the Blank Check podcast, and I'm their on-screen producer, and we host real guests as themselves and interview real guys. You know, we've had insane people. We've had like Whoopi Goldberg and Seth Meyers and Weird Al, like crazy people who should not be doing that show. And that's kind of our MO, is like who are the insane people that we can get to say yes to this.
I like that you have all these big names on, and yeah. I've only got to see a bunch of them because I didn't know about it until recently. But not once has somebody like broke that this is not George Lucas. They play the whole thing like this is George Lucas that they're talking to.
We've been doing it for 10 years now, and I can truly count on my hands maybe 3 times where that's happened. And it's one of those things where we like tell the guests, we say, don't do this, because the people who are coming to the show are like, they're of course happy to see you, but they're also like here for the show. They're buying into the conceit. So if you ruin that conceit, you're going to be persona non grata, and we don't want that for you. So it's only happened a couple times, but I mean, it's rad when it makes me laugh anytime when a guest says, "Oh yeah, Watto, no, that's true," or something to that effect. When you make famous people have to say the name Watto, it's very funny.
Yes.
How was that the original sidekick Watto, or were there other
the original sidekick was this guy Sean Diston, who's a comedian and a writer. He's on Comedy Bang Bang a lot, and he played Jar Jar for the first, I think, 2 years of the show.
Oh, okay.
And we were all based in New York. I'm in LA now, but Sean moved to LA because he got work. So we said that Jar Jar had just booked work out in Hollywood, and we had to find a new sidekick. So then Griffin's been doing it since probably 2016-ish, early 2017, something like that. It's the next logical step. You go Watto, then you go Jar, or you go Jar Jar, then you go Watto.
Yeah.
Like, what's the next step after that?
Yeah, really.
Great question. Unkar Plut? I don't know.
Ray.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. The problem is it's hard. You know, you want to find a sidekick who is a funny comedian. Griffin is a funny comedian. You know, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And also he has an insane Star Wars knowledge. So to find those 3 pieces, those circles don't often, go over each other. So it's rare that you can find someone. So we're lucky that Griffin, showed up. But it's been fun.
Do you have a dream guest that you haven't had on yet that you want on?
Gosh, I mean, my dream guests are probably not the dream guests that the other 2 guys have. My number one dream guest, and there's no real reason for this, is character actress Carol Kane. I really want Carol Kane on the show. I really want I want Frank Oz on the show. I don't think it'll ever happen. I want Michael Emerson from Lost on the show. And who's my last one? I have one other one that I always say, and I can't remember who it is. Those are like the big 3. Mm-hmm. We like talking to like character actors because it's rare that we actually talk to someone about Star Wars, which is kind of weird. We're like, no, tell us about this one movie you made in 1978. Like what was going on there? What was this guy like? But through this weird veil of it's George Lucas asking you this question.
Right.
So I feel like my guests are not always the ones that people expect. You know?
Does George Lucas know about the George Lucas talk show?
So people, we don't have the official word that he knows. We know that people in his orbit know. We've asked, we've done San Francisco Sketch Fest a few times, which is a comedy festival in San Francisco. And obviously, he spends a lot of time up there, but he's not up there full time anymore. So we've asked the last 2 times that we've gone up, and both times we've gotten answers from his direct PR people, like the Skywalker Ranch publicity people, that were both like, we talked about this. And we want to be clear that we actually talked about this. Like, so we don't know what level it's gone up to, but they're always very nice. And they're always like, we hope you have a great show. We hope you and Griffin and Connor, like, they're naming very specific things about the show. And they say, and please keep asking. Don't stop asking. So,
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Last time we did a show in January there, and they said he couldn't do it. And we were like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then we did the show. And the next day, all 3 of us were getting multiple texts because the night before, he had hosted a fundraiser at his Bel Air mansion for Joe Biden, and Joe Biden was there. Wow. And we were like, that's the best excuse anyone has ever had for not doing the show.
You guys put that into an episode.
Yes. Yeah. You're like, the president came over to my house.
Yes.
It's the perfect excuse.
It was so good. Yeah. I was like looking it up after that, like, wait, oh my God. Like,
it's like a real thing.
Yeah. He'll play into it so well.
And I love that he doesn't wear the typical George Lucas flannel. It's Howard the Duck jacket and shorts. And it's so hilarious.
The shorts happened. He was not a shorts guy pre-COVID. It was a live show in New York pre-COVID, a monthly live show. And then during lockdown, we would do weekly live streams over Twitch and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he got stuck at his parents' in Missouri. And he would do the show from their porch, but it was like 90 degrees out there. So then George became a shorts guy, and he has not gone back since.
It's so also, you're on here to talk about something very cool, very important. It's a new documentary.
Yeah.
All about Connor Ratliff, basically his story and how this George Lucas thing came to be. Is that correct?
Yeah. So these guys, these 2 filmmakers, Ryan Jacoby and Marsh Chamberlain, came to us at the end of 2018. It's been like 5.5 years at this point, which is crazy. And they said they wanted to just film a show. They said, we just want to film a show so you have like a nice high quality version of the show. This was before it was streaming or anything. So most people had not, if you didn't live in New York, it was very hard to see it. And it went through this process where they wanted to film like a fake behind the scenes, sort of 30 Rock, Larry Sanders-esque, like this is actually George Lucas making the show. And we were like, that's too much work. It's going to be exhausting. Little did we know that almost 6 years later, I would still be here talking about this. But we said you could do like a real, short behind the scenes thing that actually shows what goes into making it. And they said, yeah, that sounds great. And then they shot for 1.5 years. And we said, you guys have way too much footage to make this into a 20-minute short. Like, it will feel like a waste of time if that's all this becomes. So then they shot a little bit more after lockdown to include some of the COVID live stream stuff. And now it's a feature about Connor and about the show. And it's really fun. And it's something that I think if you're a fan of the show or if you've literally never heard of it, it works for either way. And it's, it's a nice thing about like the creative process, but also like what goes into making a live show in New York when none of you were like that famous, and how much stress that is, and but also how much fun that is if you're doing it with your friends. So it's a fun doc, and it's on VOD now, and people can watch it, and it's really it's something special, and it's cool that it exists, and it's a cool piece of like time capsule history for New York comedy, because that doesn't exist in the same way that it does now post lockdown.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't got to watch it yet. I plan on it. Yeah. It's on the schedule to watch it. But he even goes like back home and it dives into his like life growing up and
his childhood, and you meet his parents, and that's kind of one of my favorite parts of the doc, just because like A, I'm not a part of it, which is great. And B, you get to see like why he is the way he is. And like you meet his dad, and his dad has all these like very weird like life parallels to him. Like when he's telling his life story, you're like, oh, that's exactly the same thing as Connor. And just like seeing why he is, the guy that he is, and that he's, been a Star Wars guy since he was a child. And, it's fascinating. And it really like, he's a guy that I've known for almost 15 years at this point. And like, I learned a lot of stuff about him just by watching this doc and by being a part of making it. It was cool.
That's cool. That's what I really like. One of the things, there's a lot to like about the George Lucas talk show, but I like that it's not, hey, we're some comedians, let's just get on stage and make fun of George Lucas.
Yeah, we don't.
It's like a love letter to George Lucas and everything he's done, and basically like all these people you have on, because
totally,
it's really cool the way you did
it.
Thank you. Because it's not just let's make fun. It's super funny, but it is like this love letter to George Lucas. And you could tell that everybody there loves what he did.
Yeah.
And just like really respects who he is.
I think we find that kind of stuff boring,
Yeah.
Those people who are just dunking on him all the time. We're like, that's boring. Get a life, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a big distinction between poking fun and making fun. And I think there are things that we will poke fun at because it's fun to do that, but you're not saying that this is bad. Like you could say whatever you want to say about Howard the Duck, but it did do like 10 things that changed the industry, and it's the first Marvel movie. Like there's so many things that were like ahead of its time. And that's with almost every project that guy did, it changed the industry in so many different ways. So like, we love the guy, and it's all out of a place of love. And I think that's very important to keeping this going, because I think had we been, oh, this guy sucks, he made bad movies, blah, 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 which we don't believe, we would have been bored with it in the first 6 months of doing it, and now we're going on 10 and a half years, which is crazy.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'm just impressed by like your guest list. And I know you talked about it a little bit, but like the comedians that you've had on there, like my favorite, Patton Oswalt, like,
oh yeah,
and he's hilarious. Like,
I
love the Dollop, and they have him on or had him on the Dollop all the time.
Yeah,
and so when you did Life Day with it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean my day job is I'm a talent booker for a lot of stuff, a lot of live shows and podcasts and TV shows, and whoever will pay me. So it's one of these things where like I will meet someone at a different show, or Connor will meet someone acting on a project, or Griffin knows somebody, like we all run in this entertainment circle in different aspects. Griffin's primarily a podcaster, Connor's primarily an actor, I'm primarily a producer, casting, booking, whatever person. So like we meet all these people, and when you work with someone on a project, you can sort of suss out, will this person be fun on the Lucas show? And that's kind of always my ulterior motive when I meet someone, where I'm like, this is great that you're doing this other show, but I think you would also be good on this weirder show that I do. So yeah, I mean, people like Patton and Connor and Griffin are both, they work a lot, and they've worked on a lot of cool things. So people are excited to do things with them. Connor had this podcast called Dead Eyes about how he, when he was 20 or something like that, got hired for Band of Brothers, the miniseries in the early 2000s, and he was supposed to be in the episode that Tom Hanks directed, and then the day before he was supposed to shoot, he got fired because Tom Hanks watched his audition tape and thought that he had dead eyes. So this podcast like gained a lot of notoriety because he did it where he was like talking to a lot of people about their career setbacks and disappointments that they had, and eventually he had Tom Hanks on. So like all these people were like listening to this podcast who were in the industry, and the last like 2 years, a lot of our bigger guests have been like, yes, I will do it because I love Dead Eyes, which is great.
Cool. Very
so this is this sort of like weird side project that it feeds off all of our main money-making projects, Yeah.
Nice.
Great way.
You've also had people on that were character actors or droids or something from the Disney Star Wars movies. And it's been interesting to watch. I know he's not George Lucas, but George Lucas interviewing people from Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
And the back and forth has been pretty hilarious.
Well, I mean, our George, and maybe real George, I don't know. He always says it's all fan fiction. He's like, it's not real. That's all. Those were the stories they made up. They're not real, But even the Disney stuff, there's a lot of people online. I don't know if you guys have heard who are angry about that stuff.
No.
Again, and look, I don't know what any of you feel about anything. I'm not going to ask. I don't care. But it's boring to us again. You know, that kind of stuff is boring. And like, I don't find it interesting at all. So we will have those people on. And George may be a little dismissive of it. But also at the same time, we walk that fine line of being like, it's fan fiction, but it's fun. Yeah. You know, like that's his sort of takeaway on it is like, I'm not here to talk smack about these projects because I think a lot of people can agree that more Star Wars is best. Oh, yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Give us more Star Wars. I'll take all of it. So,
and the thing I tell people now, which is this side note, there's so much Star Wars now. If you don't like one thing,
stop watching it.
Don't watch it. Watch something else because there's something else.
Exactly. There's something else that'll be out in 2 months. It doesn't matter. Live your life. Go outside. Meet real people. It's okay. It'll be fine. Yeah. It's exhausting.
It's a great show, and I can't wait to watch more. You guys have any other questions before we move on?
Man, I want to hear what you come up with for this. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. I should talk about one other thing before we start, because something I just did that I feel like you guys will like and the people who listen to this will like was we just did a live reading of the Phantom Menace script in LA. And it was truly insane. We had like a really all-star group. Like Haley Joel Osment played Anakin. Tony Hale was Qui-Gon. Like Bobby Moynihan was Darth Maul in full makeup. It was genuinely, it's so fun, and it's on YouTube now. It's called the Naboo movie is what we called it. So if you go to naboomovie.com, it'll redirect you to YouTube. But the guy Eric Bauza, who's a voice actor, he does a bunch of the Looney Tunes voices. He did Jar Jar as if Daffy Duck was reading it.
Yes.
And it was genuinely something where I love Jar Jar, I love Ahmed, but it was something where you're like, oh wow, this works too. And it makes you realize like Jar Jar is kind of a Looney Tune. And it's crazy hearing a Looney Tune reading those lines. But it's something I feel like you guys would also.
I haven't finished it. I started watching it. I haven't got all the way through, but the Daffy Duck, I was like rolling. It was just so funny.
So silly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. I guess if you go to, before we forget, if you just type in George Lucas talk show, it pretty much pops up on YouTube.
It'll pop up. Yeah. All the shows are on YouTube. The documentary, if you go to imgeorgelucas.com, that'll show you how you can rent it. And it's coming to more. It's on a website now where you can watch it, but it's coming to more streaming platforms soon. And then naboomovie.com, and you can watch the live read. Cool. There's a lot going on. Too much stuff.
Awesome. Guys. That's so cool.
Yeah. That is cool.
Are you ready to Starwarsify something?
Yeah.
This is a good one. This is a really good one. I've been waiting for this one.
You sent me a list of different attractions. Some of them we've already done. Sure. And then you said, for this one that we're doing, you said, I don't know if this one would be any good. And I said, well, then we have to do this one. Because that means it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
So we're doing MuppetVision 3D from Hollywood Studios. An attraction that's been there for a long time.
90, I wanted, or 91, maybe it opened. Yeah.
And it's still there, surprisingly. So we're going to basically, if this is your first time listening or watching, we take a Disney attraction and we make it Star Wars. And that's basically it. That's it.
Because the world needs more Star Wars.
Yes.
And if you don't like one of our episodes, watch another one.
Watch another one.
Like that one either. Watch the Beauty and the Beast one. I'm sure you'll love
it. No, you won't. Don't watch that one.
It was my best work.
Yeah.
So, who wants to go first tonight? Because I think one of us. Oh,
I can go.
You want to go first?
Yeah, Katrin hasn't gone first in a long time.
Yeah, sure. I'll go
first. You'll set it up. Patrick will get used to it. He'll be like, "Oh, mine's way better than your guys," so I'll probably fine.
Yeah, but here we go. So mine is Star Wars Lego Vision 3D. All right. So the hosts are Han Solo and Chewbacca. All right, and they're introducing the idea of turning Star Wars into 3D. So prequels, original trilogy, and the latest trilogy. in MuppetVision 3D, they go and talk to Beaker and they talk about how they make it 3D, right? And so in this version, they're going to talk to George Lucas and Dave Filoni to hear how it all works. So they're just kind of, it's all Lego, of course, and you see them, they're building the Lego ships and characters and things, and you see them going in the air and building. If you've played any of the Lego games, like the Lego Star Wars games, and they're building all the things, and of course it's 3D, so it's really cool. And then they build Jar Jar Binks because he's the little character that hops around on this version, right?
He's the Waldo.
He's the Waldo. Right? What I have on him. He's Waldo. And so we transition to the first scene, and it's Dagobah, because I was watching the original. It's Miss Piggy's in this big swamp or whatever. So I was like, oh, it's perfect. We can do Dagobah. So Yoda's teaching Luke about the Force. So you see Lego rocks are coming up and moving around, and then there's a stick that he's poking at R2, and it's like going out to the crowd. Give him one of those. Then they lift the giant X-wing, and it's all jetting out into the crowd and that kind of thing. And then Jar Jar pops up out of the water and flies in, and kind of flies into the scene and causing all sorts of havoc, and Luke and Yoda catch him with the Force and kind of push him out into the audience. You get all the 3D effects of things jumping back and forth. And Han comes out, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then it kind of comes back, and you all of a sudden notice it's in a studio, and you see the scene in the middle of a studio, right? And he said, "There's still some things to work out, but it's going to be great." In our next scene, and all of a sudden he gets interrupted, and you hear, and you got Darth Vader. The lights kind of dim, and you don't see anything. You're just like, "What's going on?" And lightsaber lights, and you see the red lightsaber. It's kind of coming out at you, of course. And then he says, "Jar Jar Binks, join me on the dark side and become my apprentice." So
as it should be.
So and then there's this battle with Luke and Yoda, and then Vader's hand gets cut off, and it just kind of pops off, and everybody's like, "Oh," and then Jar Jar's like, gets sick or something, and he runs off, So Han comes back out again. He's like, "Well, maybe we should just skip to the big finale," And so in this one, the big finale is the trench run. You see them, the X-wings and TIE fighters are fighting, and lasers are shooting at you, and things are exploding in space, of course, and parts are flying everywhere. And then it jumps into the trench run, and you go and explodes the Death Star, and it's this big, massive explosion, and it's pretty glorious. So that's the main part of it. Maybe at the end they go to the scene where they're getting the medals, and Chewbacca gets the medal this time in the scene. So it's pretty great. But I also decided to go ahead and retheme Pizza Rizzo, since it's right there in the same area, and call it Pizza Solo, since I'm kind of theming it after Han Solo in some ways. There's a pizza called Han Shot First, and it's a veggie pizza that looks like Greedo's head maybe or something. And Meat Madness Falcon, so it's a pizza that looks like the Millennium Falcon, but it's Meat Madness. So yeah, that's it.
Is it equally as bad as Pizza Rizzo?
No, it's better.
Oh, better. Well, that's unfortunate.
It's really
Pizza Rizzo is a bummer because the theming is cool, but I want it to be like 30% more.
Yeah.
And the food's not great.
Have you ever been upstairs?
That's where I like the theming. I think the theming upstairs is good. I had a cannoli there that was really good.
Oh.
That's what I remember. I remember the pizza not being great. The cannolis I was into.
I've heard the meatball is good there.
Okay.
But I don't know. Pizza's not though. All right.
Should we let Patrick go?
Sure.
So we don't take any of his ideas, hopefully.
He's like, it was Lego. You already said.
No, it was not. It's not dissimilar. I don't know if mine is as well thought out as yours, but I can elaborate on it in a way that I think is good. Here's the thing. As soon as I suggested Muppet 3D, I was like, oh, no, because then it'll get rid of the one Muppet thing in the parks, and that's not something I want. I want more Muppet things. And the 3D show of it all is kind of similar to Star Tours as it is. Yeah, Sure. Star Tours is a 3D show. So I think the solve for this is to keep the Muppets in it. And you make it a Muppet version of Star Wars, which is something that someone pitches online every 2 minutes on Twitter. It's that recast whatever with the Muppets. I think you do Star Wars here. But at the same time, this is in a world where this is in addition to Muppet 3D, because I don't want to get rid of the original Muppet 3D.
That's right.
So I think it's something where, similar to the current Muppet 3D, they're putting on the show, and the show is they're going through the saga of Star Wars. So that way you can cover the prequels, you can cover the sequels in a way that Star Tours does, except this is more a linear thing, because it's obviously not going to change every time like Star Tours does. But you cast it with the Muppets. I think the obvious, the choice that they would go with feels like Piggy, Leia, Kermit, Luke, Fozzie, Han. And that's when it sort of gets difficult, because is Gonzo or Fozzie Chewie?
Yeah.
Is Gonzo Han? Is Gonzo Yoda? Like, what is the move there?
Yeah, so there's actually a poster for Star Wars Muppets outside of MuppetVision 3D.
Oh, sure. Yes,
and it's covered up now, but when they first opened Rise of the Resistance, the overflow went through there and you got to pass by it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think I would make
they made characters, because
they made action figures too.
Yeah,
they did.
I would think Gonzo would be Vader.
Interesting.
And all of his chickens would be the stormtroopers.
You're right. Okay.
But see, I feel like I've seen Gonzo in a Han Solo outfit, though.
Yeah, I think I have too.
But also, Gonzo plays Vader in the Star Wars episode of the Muppet Show.
Yeah,
so you've got that. You've got that already built in.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to go through either all of those movies, or at least all of the saga. Time periods of those, because you can also get Mando in there if you want. You can get whatever, and you can like add in new things as they happen, which I think is something that I like about Star Tours. But the idea of them trying to put on Star Wars and it obviously not going well, but ultimately succeeding is fun. It's them doing the low budget version of the Trench Run. It's them doing the low budget version of the Walkers. Whatever it is. And I think that's fun, because they have such a lack of a presence in those parks at this point that it's a real bummer. And I do feel like it is in a weird spot in that park, because you're so close to Star Wars, and it's like it feels like it should also be Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What would you guys do in that scenario? What would you add into that?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Whoa, okay. Okay.
There you go.
Something I was thinking about last night, my other idea was to just do something like the holiday special, to have a similar vibe to the holiday special, where it is like a variety show. It's sort of like a Fill Our Magic a little bit, where it's like we're having songs, we're doing bits, stuff like that. And is it old Luke hosting? That's fun. Like old Mark Hamill doing it as a ghost or whatever. I think that's fun, but I don't know what the logic of that would be, and I'm someone who like needs logic when I'm thinking about those kind of things. So I don't know. I'm very curious to hear your take on specifics for what you would do though.
Well, then take it away, Derek.
All right. I will go.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So I also wanted to keep it Muppet Star Wars.
Oh wait, sorry. And Pizza Rizzo is Dexter's Diner. I'm so sorry.
Yes,
I should have mentioned that earlier. I'm so sorry.
Dexter's Diner is a thing that we always try to squeeze in somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
We haven't had it in a while. That's
but
I'm still holding my Dexter's Diner card. So
I want a real life Dexter's Diner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for real.
Absolutely.
So mine is also Muppets staying there, but with Star Wars and like the cheap wreathing, but it's a little bit different, because the Muppets, it starts off at the scene and Kermit's sitting there very distraught. And it's because Galaxy's Edge popularity has been causing concern for all of the Muppets that their space is now going to be torn down to make way for more Star Wars attractions. And they're really nervous. So Kermit says, I remember when everything was much more simple. And Fozzie comes in and says, yeah, but that was a long time ago in a nursery. Far away. Waka waka. And we cut scene to the Muppet Babies Star Wars special. And
love it.
There it is with all of your favorite characters. So when you were asking about the characters, there's Kermit Skyhopper, Princess Piggy, and Wubaka the cookie. Scooter is Scooter 2, D2. Skeeter plays Skeeter 3PO. Rolf is Obi Rolf Kenobi, and Animal plays Animal Vader, and Gonzo is Gonzolo. And they have to Kermit Skyhopper has to save the beautiful Princess Piggy from the Death Tomato.
Yes.
So he goes on there, and of course, Princess Piggy falls in love with Kermit Skyhopper, keeping that whole lore of loving your sister really strong. But then out of nowhere, as there's like no hope left, Princess Piggy randomly just goes, "There's Han Solo, my new love." And he zooms in, and it's Gonzolo. And the Death Star starts getting ready to shoot out, or the Death Tomato starts getting ready to shoot out a bunch of tomatoes out into the crowd. And you're getting that. And just as the Death Tomato blows up, instead of Sweetums coming running out, you have Nanny's giant legs.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yes.
So that's my fantastic, ridiculous. I love that episode of Muppet Babies. So
now, Derek, are these physical Muppet? Are these puppets? Are these 2D animation? Are these 3D animation? Because they did do a 3D animation Muppet Babies. So
yeah. So I'm
curious what we're doing here.
I'm glad you asked, because I think it would start off with the real Muppets.
Sure.
And then it would like kind of go back and forth. Maybe even like, because in the episode, you'll see the Muppet Babies are watching a TV. Like Nanny had rented a video camera and they made a movie, and they were like doing a drive-in. So I think it'd be really funny if like they're having these reminiscing of this time when they made the movie, and it goes back to the regular Muppets and then back into the Muppet Babies cartoon, and maybe even some of the 3D type looking stuff.
Okay.
And then, you know, Pizza Rizzo is just going to be, I wanted to keep it with the Muppet theme. And of course, you know, the most famous Muppet in Star Wars is Yoda. And so it's going to be Yoda's Dagobah Diner.
There we go.
Nice. And that's, you know, it's just themed like Dagobah. All the food is pretty terrible. Just keeping it right on par with where we're at now.
A lot of hot soup. That's mostly what it is. In the nice Florida sun.
Yeah. Some force fries and you know, that kind of thing.
I just have a quick question.
Oh gosh.
Nanny's legs.
Yeah.
They're going to be real life, right? Like people in costume legs, or how?
No,
how is this
I want
work?
ginormous legs, because you never even see like you don't see Nanny from the hips up.
Yeah.
So I mean, I want it to come down from the ceiling.
Yeah, really
like,
coming in.
Come down from the ceiling.
Yeah, like the spiders. Because I love when little kids get scared. It's my favorite thing in the world. And if Tough to Be a Bug is going away, and those little kids can't get terrified from something dropping, I want giant Nanny legs to leave them out.
Okay, that works for me.
Yeah,
very good.
There you go.
All right, first I would like to make a formal apology to our listeners and to Patrick for what's about to happen.
Oh no.
With mine.
Oh boy.
Usually I'm very detailed. I have it very laid out, and I'm very serious about this.
Oh no.
I don't know why. Tonight I decided to go a different direction and not be so serious. I guess I'll just go ahead and do it.
Yes, please.
Will be, if you have not, if you're not familiar with the George Lucas talk show, there may be some inside jokes that you won't get if you're listening.
Okay. All right.
And it's okay, because it's for Patrick. It is for George.
That's so sweet. So good.
Okay, we said Muppet Vision 3D, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to just do that. I want to do the Muppet Courtyard and everything that encompasses the Muppet Courtyard. So I'm going to go as fast as I possibly can.
So normally he goes very detailed, and tonight he is still going.
Yeah, but they're not that detailed. So this is now going to be the Lucas Courtyard, and then where the Miss Piggy fountain is now going to be the George Lucas Yoda partner statue fountain. Where he's pointing off into the distance, and they greet you as you walk in. So it's just going to be like the partner statue with Walt and Mickey, but it's going to be George and Yoda, of course, right there. To your left, we'll start with the Pizza Rizzo, and we're going to make a big circle around to Muppet Vision. It's now going to be the George Lucas food court. This is going to, once you're inside, there's only going to be a couple of options. There's going to be Panda Express. There's going to be a Alaskan king crab cocktail cart, because that's one of George Lucas's favorite meals.
Is that true?
Yes. As told by his personal chef on an Australian news show.
Wow.
Why I know that, I have no idea.
I love that.
Star Wars, yes. And then, of course, just cans of Diet Coke. Not fountain drink, not bottles, just cans of Diet Coke. So you have your Panda Express, you have your King Crab cocktail cart, and Diet Coke, and that's the food court. It's all of George Lucas's favorites. Once you exit the food court after you've had your Panda Express, because if you don't know about Panda Express, he was seen in an Australian food court eating Panda Express and drinking a Diet Coke by himself alone in a random mall.
Do we know why he was in Australia?
There's been like,
because he can.
There's been like rumors, but nobody knows for sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. So once you leave there, the next thing on your roundabout is going to be the old Christmas shop that was there. And this is now going to be the Star Wars Holiday Special shop, where you can get all your Star Wars Holiday Special memorabilia. So that's just there. It's, if you want it, it's there. If you don't like it, you can move on, because there is another restaurant in this little area, Mama Melrose. It's now going to become Papa Lucas's Restaurante Italiano. And the inside is going to be designed to look like Lucas's restored 16th century Italian convent that he bought and restored in Italy for some reason. He spent like $9 million to restore convent into his Italian home that includes a spa and a movie theater. Of course.
Don't we all do that?
Whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah.
Live your life.
Yeah, which is funny. If you go to Mama Melrose, in the back is an Italian Star Wars poster. Yeah.
Wow.
It's back there. I don't know why. It's just on the wall.
I have an Italian Ewoks poster on my wall that I got during COVID. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's good.
I ordered it on eBay during lockdown, and I said, "Oh, this is cool. This will be a nice normal sized poster." And then it got there, and I realized I did the size conversions wrong, and it is over 6 feet tall. I got it framed, and it truly takes up my entire walkway to get into my apartment.
That's so cool.
It's a Drew Struzan Caravan of Courage poster.
Nice.
That's so cool. Yeah. Well, there's going to be more inside jokes then that I didn't know about, because something is coming up later. Okay, so the centerpiece right now, stage one, company store is there. It hasn't been used in years. It's been used for special like events and stuff. Like during May the 4th, you can go buy stuff in there. We're going to pretend this is a huge building because it's not that huge, but we're going to pretend because this is a podcast. It's going to be home to the long-awaited Lucas Museum of Narrative Art. And will be a celebration of all narrative art, but mostly George Lucas. So we've been waiting for years. They decided, hey, let's just move it to Orlando.
Great.
To Hollywood Studios, to the Lucas Courtyard. So that will be the centerpiece of the Lucas Courtyard. Will be the museum. It's finally open, and you can get your pencils there.
I love it.
Which takes us to MuppetVision 3D to round it out. I don't know if I want to give this away or if I just want to start with the pre-show and read you the pre-show, and then that will tell you what the attraction is going to be. You may do it that way, or do you want me to ruin the surprise?
You can read the pre-show.
I'll read the pre-show. I'm known for my voices on here.
Oh no!
No.
Please do your Watto again.
Yeah.
Please do your Watto.
No.
It's fantastically horrible.
No, it's not. I did Watto thing last week or 2 weeks ago.
So
and
bad.
I don't do voices, so I'm not gonna.
But it's funny because it's almost like Fozzie Bear is what's really funny about it.
Yeah, my Watto is.
I mean, now
Fozzie
you
Bear.
have to. You have to do it. You
Well,
can't
it's not. It's not Watto though. This.
Well, let's hear it. It's okay.
I mean, I could. Let's see. Hold on.
You have to think about it to do it. That
actually sounded better.
It probably sound better now.
Hey, it's me,
Watto, Waka Waka. I don't.
Yep, that's it.
I don't do voices. My brother does voices. He's actually done voices and stuff, but not me. Okay. I'll just do the pre-show. So when you enter MuppetVision 3D, there's a pre-show area, just a room. It's full of all this Muppet stuff. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but Muppets is gone. There's no Muppets. I'm sorry, but I believe there's something better that we're going to experience together.
Lies.
The TV, there's TVs in there. It comes on, and your host comes out, and your host is George Lucas. Okay,
of course.
Hello, I'm George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars. In the mid-1980s, Michael Eisner was in charge of Disney, and he decided there should be some new original cartoon characters. And on September 14th, 1995, the Wuzzles were born. The series ran for an unheard of 13 episodes. And as a thank you to my friend Michael Eisner for bringing Star Tours to the Disney parks, I would like to take you on a journey to the land of Was for a 4D adventure. Welcome to the Wuzzles, not a Star Wars story in 4D. Join Bumblelion, Butterbear, Moosel, Rhino Key, Tycoon, Elru, and Hippopotamus as they battle the evil Crocosaurus and his minions Brat and Flizzard for the control of the land of Was. So you'll go on a journey through the Wuzzles. But here's where this is typical Disney. The Wuzzles 4D will be open for 1 year. Okay. And they'll be down for refurbishment to bring you an all-new 4D experience, Ewok Vision 4D, which will be a continuation of the 1985 cartoon Star Wars Ewoks, where the audience will join in on the adventures of Wicket W. Warwick as his friends on the Forest Moon of Endor, all in 4D. There you go. That's
insane.
That is the Lucas Courtyard.
Pretty good.
That was awesome.
I was not expecting that from you.
No, me either.
That was really good. I like that a lot.
More Wuzzles. Look, here's why your idea is good, Ryan. Okay. It's because they're going to use that IP to reintroduce the Wuzzles to the world, and then they're going to be able to reboot it. Yeah. That's why.
I remember watching the Wuzzles.
Wow.
I think maybe even had toys of the Wuzzles.
Wow.
And then reading this thinking it only lasted 13 episodes.
Isn't that crazy?
Why do I still remember this as a 46-year-old?
Yeah. There's a lot of shows like that though, where you'll be like some cartoon that they showed 4 times a week, whatever, and it was on like 26 episodes, and you're just like, did I just watch each one like 13 times? Like how did that happen? And I think the answer is yes, probably, right?
Probably. I don't know. Every time, if you haven't seen the George Lucas talk show, he has a Butterbear AM radio that they made for some odd reason. And when the first episode I watched where that appeared on, I was rolling because I'm like, it's freaking Wuzzles. And then he goes into this whole thing about Michael Eisner, and I'm just like, this is pure gold.
It's crazy because an AM radio is not a kid's toy.
No.
You know what I mean? Like maybe an FM radio is, an AM radio is not. Every time he turns it's on, it's always like, the gun control debate has sparked a new controversy in Congress today. And you're just like, why did they make this? Very silly. That's very funny, Ryan.
Yes, but I also had to make it like Disney, where it will be open for a year and then it will be closed and it will never come back.
No.
Gotta go back into the vault.
Maybe in the 20-year anniversary it'll come back.
Yeah, exactly. So funny.
Or maybe they'll make a hotel, the Wuzzles Hotel. It'll cost $6,000 to stay there.
This girl who watches the show, Abigail, she makes me shirts every week for the show, every time we do one. And she made me one that says, "Ask me about the Wuzzles." Yes. And I wore it to New York Comic Con, and a man came up to me so excited. And I had to be like, "Oh, I've never seen an episode. I'm so sorry." I destroyed this man, and I felt so bad about it.
That's awesome. I want to give you, since we have a couple of minutes, right?
Yeah.
Just one of the character descriptions of one of the Wuzzles. And when I read it, I was like, what the heck was this cartoon? And why do I remember the cartoon? But why did I watch this cartoon? There's a character called Tycoon. Now in the Wuzzles, the animals are more than one animals that have been
I figured it out.
Dr. Monroe or something island or something.
So there's a tiger and a raccoon.
Yes, it is a tiger and a raccoon. I'm pretty sure. Yes, half tiger and half raccoon. This was the whole point of him being in the show. The rich kid of Wuz, as he owns a money tree, he shows other Wuzzles that he got his wealth from smart investing and saving his money, and teaches the Wuzzles about fiscal responsibility.
Yes. It needs to be there, though.
So funny.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
The more you know. Is that so they can put that educational information?
I don't know. I want to tell you guys a fact now, and we have not talked about this on the show yet, so this is an exclusive for you guys.
Yes.
We found out that the woman who voiced Butterbear, was a voice actress for a little while in the 80s and then left voice acting, started working in animation, and worked at Lucasfilm on Lucasfilm animation projects. She worked on Clone Wars, she worked on Detours, she worked on a whole bunch of stuff. And it's such a weird coincidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because also we talk about Star Wars Detours. Do you guys know about Star Wars Detours?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, great. We talk about Detours constantly. And just the fact that those two things are connected, even though they have no connection in the real world outside of our twisted reality, is so strange. We have not talked about that yet, but I want to get her on the show.
Her name is Kathleen Hepley Shipley.
Yeah. We'll get her on at some point.
Interesting.
Her other name is Bear Girl.
Good. Good nickname.
I was really nervous of where you were going to say she ended up. I was like, oh,
yeah,
where's this gonna go? Because I have watched your show.
I know this is a family-friendly stream. I know.
I mean, for them, I don't have kids, so I'm kind of meh. Who's family?
Well, I hope Patrick, you like that. That was
I loved it.
A note to the George Lucas.
I would switch Yoda and the Fountain out for Howard. That would be my personal switch. I
like it.
But that's just me.
I like it. I was just thinking Yoda because there is the Yoda fountain.
Yes.
Right.
And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck. Anytime we can get more Howard the Duck, I'm on board with that.
Agreed.
Also, if anyone is listening to this and wants to make fan art of a fountain of George Lucas holding Howard the Duck's hand, I really like that.
Oh, let's get on that. AI. I bet I could do that.
Yeah. Let's work on that.
Hold on. I'm going to do it right now. Why not?
No.
Just jump on AI in the middle of the episode.
I'm trying to think, you guys. So that's we had basically 4 different ideas. 2 of them included Muppets, but they were totally different ideas.
Yeah.
Again, it happened. Successful.
Yeah.
In the 30 episodes, what do you guys think is objectively the best idea that you've had?
Oh, Katrin.
Yes. Carousel of Progress.
Yep.
Katrin did Carousel of Progress, and it was taking the actual story of Carousel of Progress with the characters that are in it, but it is the it starts with the earliest Star Wars video game and goes all the way to the future.
The current, what the current and then the future, what could be, right? I wrote a script for the show, and it had all these voices, and it was a lot of fun to do.
That's amazing.
That's definitely
somebody made a comment when we were at the Comic Palooza, right? And he came up and said, that was a really cool perspective of somebody that maybe is a bystander of Star Wars, or maybe they're not, deep into it, but they watch it, and that's kind of maybe a lot of people that go to Disney World, right? They like Star Wars and they like playing the video games, and they know a little bit about it because it kind of makes jokes about things that happen in Star Wars and the video games. So, but yeah, that was probably my favorite one that I've done. But I think it's
the best one that, in my opinion, minus my Beauty and the Beast.
No.
Now early on.
What's the worst?
Beauty and the Beast.
What is the Beauty and the Beast idea?
It was brief rundown. I don't know. Ahead, Derek. I don't know if I drank cough syrup or what happened. It's the show I just absolutely despise, and I just wanted to make it just as bad as it already is. And I don't despise Beauty and the Beast. It's the show at Hollywood Studios. I don't like. Shmi was
married to who? Who's Shmi married to? Go ahead.
Was it Jabba?
No.
I don't even remember.
Watto?
I don't remember.
You really don't remember?
I don't remember.
Shmi is married to it was either a Wampa.
Oh, that's what it was.
I think it was a Wampa.
Right. It was a Wampa.
You're right. It was so bad, and it just kept getting worse.
The best part of that episode was that before we started recording, Derek was like, "I'm so excited about this. I think it'll last. I'm pumped. And we're like, "This is gonna be good. This is gonna make the best."
I was like trying to really sell.
And then Shmi marries a Wampa, and we're like, "What
God.
is happening?"
Wait, is this is the ride that you're retheming?
No, the show.
The attraction.
Oh,
Yeah.
the show. Okay.
The stage show.
Okay. I was like, is it the restaurant? Is it the show?
No,
what is it?
show.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was.
And I was really selling it as like I worked hard on this thing. Not just
it was. But we've had a bunch. We've had a bunch of fun ones. When we had James R. Taylor on, we found out that he is the voice of the skull on Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's why he wanted to do Pirates of the Caribbean.
Huh.
So that was interesting to see.
Yeah.
Like he's part of the ride. He's like, I want to retheme it.
Yeah.
And he's also the voice of Lieutenant Beck on
Knew that
Rise of
one.
Resistance. Yeah.
A king. Lieutenant Beck, our king. We stand a legend.
Yes.
Give me the Black series. Where's the dang Black series? Come on.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like him in the ship? Like him in the escape pod?
Yeah.
I want that. I want that.
Mhm.
All right. Before we sign off and let you have the floor to tell everybody where to find you and stuff, would you like to give your opinion of the Acolyte?
I'm
I'm just kidding.
I'll give it up.
Oh, I'll give it. I'll give it.
Go.
Here's the thing, guys.
I liked this
I like
last
it.
episode.
I think it's fun. I like it. I think it's different. I think it's weird. I like that a lot of it feels real. I like that they're shooting in real locations for them, for a lot of stuff. I think this the 4th and 5th episodes freaking ruled. I think they were exciting. I think they were scary. I think it was some of the scariest Star Wars stuff out there. I'm pro Acolyte. You're not going to get anything bad out of me. It takes here's what I'll say. It takes a lot for me to not like a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Like there's almost no Star Wars thing where I can flat out say I dislike it front to back. Yeah. I think there's 8 perfect saga movies. 1 through 8. And then there's some stuff in 9 that I don't love, but like there's not, I can even point to multiple things in that movie that I like. So it would take a lot for me to be fully off board of something. Are there stuff I would change in that show? Yeah, sure. But it's nothing that I'm like crying to other people about it online, Seen too many TikToks of people who need to go meet another human being.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Personally, I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
You're not rushing out to go watch.
That's also totally fine.
But it's fine. I'm not going to be like, oh gosh, this is the worst thing ever. I think I love Smilo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
I think the actor. It's hard for me to watch him because I was a real big fan of The Good Place.
Sure. Yeah.
And his character in The Good Place, when I see him, I see his character in The Good Place.
Yeah.
Because that was a great show.
Never seen it.
I liked him in this last episode.
Yeah.
Some of the other
I think his mask is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think his mask I really like that mask.
I do too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do too. I loved this last episode. The first 3 were tough for me.
Yeah.
4 was like,
yeah,
we're getting somewhere, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah.
And this last one, I was like, yo, because I'm all Sith. Like my sleeves are all Sith.
Oh,
I've got a Darth, you can't see it there, Darth Donald Duck tattoo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like Sith all the way.
Sure.
And when he took out some of the characters, spoiler alert, Katrin, have you seen it yet? Or do you even care?
I have not.
He's probably not going
Okay, you're probably not going
He didn't take out some of the characters. He took out all of the characters except for like 2.
And like all these characters, and I'm like, why is this person even in this? And it's gone.
I think this show, when it is done, I think people will look back on it a lot differently than watching it week to week. I think there's a lot of people who don't remember how mysteries work. And a lot of people are very frustrated that answers are not given in the first episode, and it's something where you got to give stuff time to reveal itself. And I think watching this as a whole when it's done will be maybe more fun for some people than
I think that's the problem, not the problem, well, sort of the problem with a lot of the Disney Star Wars shows. If you watch it as a whole back to back, it's like, this was fun. But the week to week, you're like,
it's hard.
Gosh, this is hard. Like,
I know.
So I'm not going to pass final judgment. It's just my opinion. Totally. It doesn't matter until it's done, and then we'll see.
I do think a lot of the shows should have been movies.
Yes.
So I don't think there's a problem with making a 2-hour Disney Plus movie for Star Wars.
No.
I love Obi-Wan. I like that show a lot. A lot of people didn't. But I think if you made that a 2-hour, 20-minute movie,
agreed.
Yeah, I think they believe that everybody loves to binge things or watch episodic kind of things, right? But you're right. I mean, they would make great movies.
Yeah, I'm not here to tell anyone that if you dislike it, you're wrong. But I think it is one of those things where it's just like, just don't be a jerk about it, and then it's fine. Yeah.
I do wish they would do like Letterkenny and just drop the whole season. Like, boom, there's the season. If you want to binge it, great. If you don't like it and you want to drop out, great.
The thing that's depressing about that as someone who works in the industry is like, oh, I spent 9 months working on this and then you watched it in 2.5 hours. Okay, great. It sort of is depressing when everyone's like, I watched the whole thing today. And you're like, okay, that was a big part of my life. Okay.
Like, to me, that'd be flattering. It's like, oh, wow. They just couldn't stop.
I just think with the discourse as it is nowadays with and people's attention spans, you stop talking about those shows pretty quickly. Once they all drop, and that's kind of a bummer. So I don't think there's a perfect way to do it, which is
no one will be happy. Again, no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
I know. Sorry for ranting.
No, it's fine.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
That's what podcasts are for.
We can be hard on some Star Wars stuff, but we're fair.
That's okay.
Hard, but fair.
That's right. Fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced, just as the Force should be.
And as long as you're not messaging people who worked on the show telling them they should die, then it's totally fine to be fair and balanced,
Yeah, agreed.
Retract.
All right.
Retract. Delete that.
No, we don't do that.
We love Kathleen Kennedy.
I really, spoilers for Katrin, I don't think
it's fine.
You like spoilers. I really hope they go with the Knights of Ren stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would be cool.
That would be so cool.
I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I hope they do.
It seems like they might be leaning that way, but I don't know.
Yeah. I would love just a Knights of Ren show. Just give me a Knights of Ren show.
Mm-hmm. Let them do something.
Yeah.
Yep. Let them do anything.
Yeah, let them do anything, please.
Not just walk by.
Yeah.
Anyways, Patrick, thank you for being on. Where can people find you? Or maybe you don't want people to find you.
It's pretty easy to find them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm maybe too public. Again, let's rehash everything. Here we go. Yeah. George Lucas Talk Show is all on YouTube. You can find hundreds of hours of content there. It's overwhelming, but if you find a guest that you like, that's an easy way to watch. Ryan, you're talking about The Good Place. Darcy Carden's been on like 10 times.
Cool.
Janet herself, one of the best. I'm George Lucas, a Connor Ratliff story. The documentary about Connor and the show is I'mGeorgeLucas.com. The Naboo movie is NabooMovie.com. That's the Phantom Menace reading. You can find me on Twitter at Patrick Cotnoir, on Instagram at Cotnoir, and my website's PatrickCotnoir.com, and that's got all the info about everything.
Sweet.
Don't add me on LinkedIn.
Hey, I turned my LinkedIn off.
I had a guy message me today saying, Patrick, if you're worried about light pollution as much as I am, we should connect. And I said, I don't even know what that means. And I messaged him back, I am not worried about that. And then I said no. So please don't add me on LinkedIn.
Does he mean like just a little bit of pollution or like light?
I believe he means light. As in like
street lights.
Yeah.
Worried about just a little bit of pollution.
A little bit of pollution.
I think you and I hit it off.
Oh man,
the big pollution. I don't care about it at all.
It's a little light pollution.
Really gets under my skin.
Patrick, thank you
you guys for having me. This was very fun.
That was great.
If you ever need anything from us,
let
us know. If you need us, to come sit in the audience, at George Lucas talk show so we could put it on IMDb. We would love to do that.
Well, here's another thing I'll say. If anyone is in the LA area in August, this has not been announced yet. But if you like the Naboo movie, I bet there's more things coming your way.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
Keep an eye out.
Sweet.
And it'll also be streaming, hypothetically, in this hypothetical situation that I'm talking about.
That's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you again. And thank you, listeners, watchers, for checking us out. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you like kyber crystals, make sure you check out I Am Geek Shop on Etsy for all your kyber crystal needs. I got to get that plug in there. And join us next week on I Am Geek, where we will be talking about something geeky. Maybe Star Wars. Who knows? We'll see you next time on Living with the Landspeeder.
Bye-bye.
Bye.